Northbound runway 22, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 22 with a right turn to northbound, forward over go. Usually not this complicated. This won't take very long. Looks like they're just mowing.
Truck 72, resume mowing along the runway.
Resume on runway 22.
Alrighty. Now if I'm lazy, I can press the nav button, autopilot button, altitude button, all I want. Actually, let's go with track for now, so I don't dip back into the airspace. Back speed, there we go. And I can tell I want 3,500 feet, and that is in the direction of up. So when you're lazy, just get the autopilot to do it. So I'm just gonna get out, just outside of any risk of getting in there Class D. Shouldn't be a problem because we're climbing 600 foot per minute at 94 knots. I think this wants to climb. The law around the LSA is that it can't have a normal cruise speed of greater than 120 knots. But with a 1,300 pound airplane and 100 horsepower, it's going to be too fast. So they put all that energy into lift. But it just gets off the ground, and that was like 800 feet.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And then just climbs and climbs and climbs. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to reset. See how I'm a little bit I'm left of course. Up because that bar, I don't know if you ever used an HSI.
Yes.
So I don't want to hit nav right now because it's going to try to shoot all the way over there.
Right.
So I'm just going to go map and reset the direct to. And now it's still going to turn, but it's going to be, we're already on course, so it's going to be a more gentle turn. That blue bar right there tells me the spot on the ground where we'll be at 3,500 feet, and it's short of that Class B.
Right.
Now if that starts to stretch out a little bit, I'm either going to have to climb more or turn away, and I can zoom in and make that a little easier. Also have traffic right there that's 1,500 feet above us, so not yet a factor, and he'll be out of the way by the time we get there. So that's kind of, they've updated this. When I first got this, it was version 6 of the firmware. It's version 15 now. They just keep adding new things. And one of the more recent things they added was vertical nav. If I do a direct to an airport, and then select a specific runway, and I have it on altitude hold when we get there, I have it set to just make me descend on the center line of the runway to a point 2 miles off the end of the runway at 800 AGL. So I can either go ahead and land, or I can go fly a full pattern. 3,500 is not going to work for us because these clouds are going to be in the way. So I'm going to go up to 55. There's one. Hello, cloud. We need to be 2,000 feet away from that cloud, and I can't tell. I've never been able to tell. I don't have the finely calibrated eyeballs that you would need to do that. So here we're just about 3,500. So I'm going to go ahead and put that vertical speed back down. We're not in any hurry anymore. Might as well get a little airspeed out of it. Well, that's all right, 5,100. So we're burning just shy of, this isn't 100% accurate, but it's pretty close. We're burning just shy of 5 gallons an hour in the climb. Auto trim. So it comes with, the way you'd normally do the autopilot out of the box is you got to dig down in here and find everything. These are optional, and I think they were worth every penny. These just make it so you don't have to use the same knob for private things. This one is the modes, but the biggest thing about this is it has auto trim. So when you kick off the autopilot, you're already trimmed straight and level. And on a day when you're doing all this up and down type stuff, you're constantly adjusting so that this takes care of all of that. So that was worth its weight in gold just for the auto trim. I think I'm going to have to pull the radio out. I've had a problem with the radio before where it just needs to be pulled out and put back in. This is the way you normally remove it. There's a little Allen head in there, but it's not working. Something's wrong. So I'm going to take that layer out there and just pull it out. Figure out what's...
I've had that problem with the Grumman. It was just...
Yeah, just going to reseat them.
Yeah, you had to go in the back and...
The other possibility is that the headset jacks aren't grounded correctly. And the way they're supposed to ground is you just scrape off a little bit of paint underneath that nut that holds it in. I don't know if that's really that great of a ground.
Oh, my house.
Hello down there. Yep, sure enough, there it is. And if that's not enough on the clouds, we'll just go around them. All right, well, we'll get up to altitude. Actually, you can fly whenever you want. I can turn off the autopilot whenever you want. All you got to do for nav is just follow the purple line. It's that easy. Or do it the HSI way. One of these, I think it's this one, corrects, this is ground track. This corrects for wind. This does not. So if you try to follow that, you're going to drift off course. Have you ever used the flight director?
No.
That's those two purple bars right there. The yellow bar is fixed and the purple bar is moved. So let's say I want to track off to the left a little bit. I'm going to hit track so that it centers up with where we are now. I'm going to yank it off to the side, and I'm going to engage track mode, and I'm going to turn off the autopilot. So now I'm flying. Now those are going to turn to the left. See them turning? All I have to do is follow them with the yellow. And that'll hold my altitude and my turn for me. It's exactly what the autopilot would do if the autopilot was still flying. So if we go back on nav, I just need to follow them back. And this is your trim right here. That's trim down right there, trim up. Yeah, now I'm getting a little low, see? So I got to tuck that up in there. Oh, looks like a lot going on there. Like a drag race. Just flying in formation or something. So we'll get back on course. Alright, so now a very light grip on the stick. And yeah, you won't need a lot of rudder. And just kind of get a feel for it. They're both above us. There we go. So it's going to be a little lighter than the Grumman, but although as I remember, the Grumman's pretty sprite too, sprightly too. Is that what you started in, or is that just what you ended up with?
That's what I ended up with.
Pretty much everybody's flying like a 172, but...
Yeah, I started in a 152, and...
Yeah. Don't run into a lot of Grummans anymore. I really wanted one. Back when I was looking to have an airplane, I would have taken a Grumman or a coupe or anything, ended up in a half share of a Mooney. Cloud, we're going to be right at that cloud.
Yeah,
we'll just angle off a little bit and you'll miss it.
Yeah, the Grumman was fun to fly. I enjoyed it. It was quick, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. It was the two-seater I flew, Yankee or whatever that is. I thought it was fun. Well, of course, I'm addicted to a stick now. I don't think I could go back to a yoke.
This is really light.
Yeah, it is. And you got trim if you need it. And the trim is extraordinarily sensitive. So like the least little bump is going to make a big difference. The reason for that is it had to be sped up so that it could respond to this quickly enough. It used to be a lot slower, a lot more sedate, but now you just got to kind of stab at it. And talk about the safety aspects. I'll have an airplane for a second. Let's say I'm out here and I'm in the clouds and I'm totally dorked up. All I have to do is this. And boom. There's a menu item for a 180. It'll actually just turn you back and take you right back where you were. I don't know if there's a way to do that with the buttons.
I think that's a $50,000 option on the Cirrus.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper when you're in the experimental world. I have the autopilot on, but if you're ready to fly it, I'll go ahead and turn it on. With your airplane. Stay to the left. There you go. So that's the thing about starting to get this equipment in general aviation airplanes. Makes so much sense. I didn't really think I needed all this when I was building it. It's like, wow, that's an awful lot of stuff for a tiny little airplane.
Gee.
You can tell I spilled oil yesterday. It's all streaming back through the firewall. I spilled it right when I was trying to pour it. Well, it was the old oil too, so it's the dirty black stuff. Because it's a dry sump engine, there's a lot of oil gets trapped in the engine. So you have to put air pressure on it, turn the prop a few times to push all that oil out. And I had a little touch cup, and I caught it all, but when I went to pour it out, I dumped most of it right down into the engine bay, so now it's all going to seep in. Rats.
Sorry, I don't understand the purple.
Well, you're not on course.
Okay.
So that's still the flight director being turned on. So if you wanted to get right on the course, you would turn it. Now watch how the yellow follows that.
Okay.
See that? The other way you can do it is look at this purple line, or just to level out like this. Don't worry about that. Just wait until that little bar comes back to the middle, and that means you're on the purple line again. It's this line being drawn. So you just fly towards the line, just like a CDI. And now you're getting pretty close, but that's at a 5-mile range, so it's not super precise right now. It's also not going to correct for wind, which we actually have none of. This calculates your crosswind component for you. So you can turn right back on the purple line now, and you'll be right back on it. So that's the flight director. You turn it on or off. You don't really have to have it. I find it quite useful. Particularly when you're like down in Florida, and especially around Pensacola, you get some very, very busy and constricted airspace. You know, you got a 2-mile window you're shooting at, right? Kind of like, if you're really, really busy, you don't want to be looking here, 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 and here. This tells you everything you need to know. And if it's really choppy, a lot of ups and down drafts, you may not want to trust the Autopilot if you're like under a Class B or something where you can get in real trouble for encroaching. So I'll just turn this on, so all I got to do is follow that and not really have to trust the Autopilot quite that much.
Wow. It's a lot different than just flying the old analog gauges.
Very modern.
Yeah.
Now with Dynan, I have a separate radio because that's what when Vans put this package together, Dynan didn't yet have an integrated comm nav or comm radio. They do now. So you can get the radio built right into here and get a nice touch panel and touch screen, all kinds of fancy neat stuff, which are nice but not necessary. I'm not going to upgrade because there's not enough value in it. There is a better radio they ship now. This used to be an Apollo radio until Garmin acquired them and just changed the name. With the Skyview now, you can get a newer Garmin, I think it's a 225 or something like that, that has the intercom built in, which simplifies a lot of things. Then you can get a navcom. Right now, my only source of navigation is the GPS. I don't have VORs or anything. But if I wanted to upgrade this to IFR, I'd have to get a new comm nav, and that gets expensive quickly. This stuff's all certified, so it's expensive. I think it would have cost more. It certainly would have cost more in weight, if not dollars, to have a vacuum pump, a 6-pack of gyros.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have done it. I'd have just kept it VFR only.
I'd much rather have this.
Well, I'd really like to have some kind of artificial horizon, because even VFR, you can fly at night. You get yourself into trouble. I want to be able to see that. So that would have cost more and weighed more, and been higher maintenance. See if there's any weather anywhere. Yeah, there's some down there. And out here, we're kind of surrounded by it.
See, one of the reasons I was glad that I gave up flying in the Grumman was because I didn't have all this.
Yeah.
So, you know, the weather and the TCAS, you know, is so important.
On the long trips. And, you know, the other thing I get is wind. I can look at the wind at Delaware. I mean, it was more critical in the tail dragger, but this is a very light airplane with a very big vertical stabilizer. It feels the wind on the ground, and you don't have direct steering through the nose wheel, so I need to know what the winds are. So I can tell you what the winds up are at Marion here. Just drive on up here and see if I can get the weather for that. Weather. So they're, where's the wind? 290 at 6. There you go. Just that easy. And I don't know if PCW reports anything at all. I've been using Cleveland Hopkins for the weather. I don't think PCW reports. But it's not going to be all that different from Hopkins or Burke. Now you go to Hopkins and it's going to be a mile long. the weather report. Just NOTAMs on taxiways and such, so I'll go look at Bert. That's right on the lake, so that's going to be pretty much just like Port Clinton. And that is 260 at 7, so very, very easy.
How sensitive is the trim?
Very. Give it a try. You got to push it all the way down. There you go. How you feel? It responds. But that was a small trade-off for the Autopilot. I mean, long trips, being able to see the weather, being able to look at things. This is not a very steady airplane. If you let go, it's going to turn to the right. So a small, light airplane that bounces around a lot, and you're on a long trip where you need to be able to look at things, the Autopilot is just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Very handy at night.
Oh, very.
You know, where you tend to get the little bit more vertigo type stuff with the lights and the stars and all that.
Flying over to Bahamas.
Yeah. Yeah, over the water, yeah.
Yeah. Boy, sometimes I'd fly over there and you get to a point where all you see is this cone, you know, down to the water.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have any horizon.
The way this works, all of the Autopilot logic is built into this unit, which you get as part of the kit. And you actually can get the Garmin version now, the Garmin Experimental. I can't stand Garmin. Their customer service is hideous, and Dynan's is phenomenal. Plus, this is free map updates. I never pay for a map update.
Really?
I never pay for a firmware update. That all comes with it. But I love the little thing. So the Autopilot logic is all built in, so that comes with the kit. The only thing optional is the servos. There's 2 servos, pitch and roll. They're $750 each, so that's a $1,500 Autopilot to me. What's interesting is, with the Autopilot logic already in here, I don't know for a fact, but I think the flight director would still work, even though you don't have the Autopilot to drive it. But they don't turn that on unless you buy the servos, which is unfortunate, because I think that's very, very useful to a VFR pilot. You don't need the Autopilot, but that's handy for far more than just the Autopilot. And I don't know if that's a business decision or a technical decision, but it's kind of weird. So we're VFR. If you want to fly looking out the window, you can do that too. Used to be when I started, they didn't want you looking at instruments at all. They wanted you to learn that sight picture and all that. And I'm not sure when it happened, but they now actually want you to do a mix. They do want you to kind of compare back and forth and have a scan. If you're out the window all the time, you're not seeing the fact that you're at 0 oil pressure, if nothing else, or there's traffic or whatever. So they kind of changed their thinking on that, which I think was needed. I'm going to go ahead and tune in Port Clinton. And the way I can do that is go to Map, Info, Com. So I got to get back to Port Clinton. That'll be under my recent. Then I'm going to go to Com, and I'm going to tune in their AWAS. Well, first off, yeah, tune in the AWAS.
Estimated weather observation.
Then tune in the Unicom.
30 Zulu weather.
There.
Wind 260 at 4. Visibility 10.
That may or may not be. Oh, it is. It'll show you right there. That's PCW. Because the frequencies on the Unicoms get shared a lot. It just tells you the closest one.
Altimeter 290 4.
Center 94.
Density altitude 2,400.
Yeah, this is a lot to take in right off the bat.
You don't need it all.
No, but
Honestly, you could fly without looking at it at all. But it can be a huge distraction.
yeah,
I've noticed that myself.
When you first get into it, you're still used to the standard instruments, and
You can also get spoiled by the traffic information. This is not true ADS-B in and out yet. That's not till 2020. So you will see airplanes that are showing their tail number. That means they have the new equipment. There's other airplanes you won't see at all because they haven't got a transponder turned down out here. And if you get down southeast Ohio where you're not near an airport with an approach radar, this is being reflected back from Port Columbus or Cleveland or whoever. You have no service at all. Unless you're paying attention, you're thinking, how'd that guy get right in front of me and 500 feet under me like that Bonanza did? Well, he was direct to the airport I was direct from. And he never showed up on here because I hadn't realized there was no traffic service. So now you really can't be, it's a nice to have, but you can't count on it. But realistically, I hardly ever see airplanes unless it tells me they're there. You know, it's hazy and they're painted white so they blend into the haze.
boy, in South Florida we have a lot of traffic.
Yes.
Most of the time I'm on radar service anyways when I'm flying in South Florida.
Yeah, and I could do that. I could have Columbus to Mansfield to Cleveland if I wanted it. But way out here, it's just not that busy.
That's why I thought it was so stupid to fly without TCAS, you know, it's just...
Well, I'm kind of torn. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to have a hell of a financial struggle to bring their airplanes up to spec, and I'm not thrilled about that, but there's just so much safety to be had.
Exactly.
They will have to find a cheaper solution, though.
I don't think it costs that much money.
Well, it depends on what you're having to get. You know, I'm into it for 15 grand, but this is more your top of the line solution.
Oh yeah.
You know, put that on a
15 grand though is nothing for avionics.
Well, it depends on the airplane, the value of the airplane, because the planes you're typically talking about have like that 152 that was, that's actually a 150 that was sitting there. He maybe gets 18,000 out of that airplane, and he's still got to have this done.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to do it this way, though.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it this way. They'll go with the bare minimum, which unfortunately negates a lot of the personal safety, but it helps with mine, so I'm all for it.
We're 8 miles to the northeast for runway 2728 Union County.
Okay, Union County. I haven't looked at the runways yet. I can't remember what they are up here. They got 4 of them. So I'm going to go to the map, info, and runway. So we have 9 and 27 or 18 and 36. The wind is out at 26, so we'll be landing on 27. That's nice. That sets us up for midfield left downwind for 27. Don't have to do any shenanigans. Drive right in.
Let the traffic.
You're smoothing out.
Oh, it's great up here.
No, I mean, you're smoothing out.
Oh, I am.
You got, yeah. Got it all,
you
settled down now.
Figured it, yeah.
Yeah, you have to adopt a feel for it. My wife's cousin retired a year or so ago from a career. Well, first he was naval aviator, flew C-130s in Antarctica, and he's been an airline pilot. So he got out of the airlines and bought into a Cessna 177 with a couple friends, and he's had 8 hours now, and he's still not comfortable landing it because he's flaring high, and he's flaring with a massive yank. So it's taken him a while to get the feel for it. He knows how to fly. He just doesn't know how to fly that airplane. And he's being very, very cautious about it. I asked him, is the instructor doing the landings for you? No, they're just bad. But you're landing yourself, yes. It may be time to get rid of the instructor. You know, he just needs to feel safe, and then he can start refining technique.
Well, there's traffic.
This one is just the easiest to land airplane I've ever been in.
Left base for 02, right runners.
They don't get any easier than this one.
Union County, 66 Romeo is turning downwind for 27, Union County.
Are you thinking about getting a plane, or can you still rent down there?
Excuse me?
Can you rent?
Yeah, but I don't like renting.
So you're not getting into flying then?
No.
Well, investigate a partner, but I got to tell you, be very, very careful. I mean, that's obvious, but I got into a partnership on that Mooney, and that guy, he knew at the time that he was trying to get relocated to Texas. I had to fly off, I can't remember, it was 15 or 25 hours with an instructor, which was him, and he charged me for it. And no sooner got flown off than I get an email work with the subject line, "We need to talk," and nothing good comes after "we need to talk," and he had gotten his transfer.
I had such a deal with the Grumman that it's so hard to duplicate that. I basically paid $90 an hour wet, and I just buy block time, you know, like 25 hours at a time, and I could take it as long as I want, whenever I want it.
You can find now with the right kind of airplane. I couldn't do this with this airplane. Anyone flies this has to be named insured. So they don't treat this like a Cessna where, yeah, just as long as you got a few hours in it and a checkout, let them go. And it's a little bit more delicate. The nose wheel is kind of a little bit delicate. You have to be kind of careful with that. And it's a little bit, it's nimble enough. People can get maybe a little over exuberant. That's what kills most people in RVs, is just thinking if they're air show pilots or low flying or things like that. That's probably, I don't know if that's the majority. The majority is probably engine failure or gas exhaustion, but it is a significant factor, is the tendency to overfly them. So it'd have to be just the right person. And the other thing is I have no financial reason to do so. It's very cheap to operate. I fly for about $15 an hour or $20 an hour. And there's no need to take that risk.
Downwind for 27, Union County.
127, downwind for 28.
I I considered it with the Tampico because I was in a much different financial situation then, and it was a very, very simple airplane to fly. It came out of Embry-Riddle. I was a retired Embry-Riddle trainer. Very easy to fly, but very, very strong. Built like a tank.
Yeah, my friend with the Grumman, he didn't fly it enough, so...
That's bad for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, my friend Rick had that deal with a guy with a Cherokee. He just wasn't flying it enough and just wanted, because he traveled a lot. He's a chemical engineer and he tends to do contract work, so he's gone a lot. So he just wanted somebody flying the plane. Otherwise that engine just sits and rusts from the inside out.
Downwind, runway 23, inbound to land, runway.
I don't know that I could ever go back to store-bought. Now you can get a 4-seat RV-10. You know, that's a Van's airplane, and it flies like a Van's. Actually, it's one of the, this one and 9 and the 12, or this one, the 9 and the 10 are not aerobatic, but it's a great travel plane. It's a 180-knot airplane, and you can pick them up already built. There's a huge spectrum in avionics and so forth on a plane like that, but you know, 180 to 200, which is way more than this one costs. But they hold the value.
66 Romeo is turning base. Mooney 69 Lima, just to the north of the island, westbound 1,700, proceeding towards Port.
Yeah, if I get the urge to fly, I can always just hire an instructor in a plane for an hour and have my fill.
What runway are they using at Footbay?
I don't know.
We just
didn't go down there.
now going back and forth. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be, you know, if we're snowbirding, where am I going to keep it? Am I going to take it down there twice a year? You know, move it twice a year? Do I need 2 hangars? I can't see being in Florida without it, but I can't see 5 months up here without it either. Especially if it's sitting out in a shed and it's not being flown. That's not good for it. And without it, it's a long trip down there just to go fly it. So I'm probably going to have to southwest down and bring it back and just keep a shed down there at Footsville.
Wayne County 127, final 28 Wayne County.
It's such a central component of your life. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I can see a boat. Yeah, leave the boat in Florida. Where are you going to take in Ohio? Reservoir? You know, that's... I can't see that with the airplane.
I used to fly a lot. I'd go back and forth to the Bahamas all the time, you know, being in the boating industry, but then I kind of stopped doing that when I got out of flying for a while, and then I got back in it with the Grumman. And I just didn't trust the plane to go over water. And, you know, if I had this, it'd be a whole different story.
Well, other people flying your plane, I got rentals just scared me. So I got into a large ownership club. It was 4 Cessnas and about 50 people. And I thought that was better until the day somebody went out to pre-flight the 172 and found the wingtip had been scraped down the runway. Not written up, not reported, nobody admitted to it. I'm done with that club. So that's how I got into the 50-50 thing. Well, he shafted me, so told Martha I'm going to have to get a new partner. She said, no, you're not. You're going to have to get yourself your own airplane. It's just not going to work out. You're never going to be happy with it.
Well, that's why I don't rent. You know, it was fine when I first started flying. You get into it. Every time you got into the airplane or a different airplane, you know, you didn't know what to expect.
Right. Yeah, I got uncomfortable with that too.
The Grumman was nice because it was just me and the owner, and you know, if there was any problems, he'd let me know, and vice versa. And
I tell people that are looking for a partnership, just get one. At the absolute outside, get 2, but be careful of that because now you can be in the minority on every decision. It's hard enough with one partner. It's very much like a marriage. You know, you can have different outlooks on what this... Like the guy with the Mooney was a mechanic. He was an AMP. But I thought the prop cable was too stiff. I mean, it was really stiff. Now it's fine. He wouldn't fix it because he made all the maintenance decisions. He got out of the runway one day, tugged it back, and it broke off in his hand and had to cancel a business flight. I'm like, well, there you go. I mean, it was trying to tell you. So that partnership probably wasn't going to last anyway. I did like the Mooney, though.
yeah, I agree. I wasn't happy with the way the Tiger was being maintained. And
I mean, seriously, he was in it for the cost of parts. He wasn't paid $80 80 hours for labor, or $80 an hour for labor, but he didn't want to fix it. So.
Down landing,
I was just reading where there's going to be some rule change on the Class 3 medical?
Yeah, that's the basic med. It's just they call it basic med, And as long as you've had a Class 3 within the most recent 10 years, or you take another one, then all you have to do is get checked by your doctor every 4 years and watch a training video every 2 years to refresh yourself on the rules and such forth. It's very, very easy. The trick is getting a doctor to sign it. They're so concerned about liability, they're afraid they're going to be liable for this. Their AME will sign it. AMEs are used to being covered by the fact that they were AMEs. Now, if they're afraid if they report to their insurance company that they're doing basic med, they're going to raise their liability insurance. So I haven't really talked to my doctor about it yet, but I do know where there's one that will do it if he won't do it. But it lets you, you're clear up to 6,600 pounds, 5 seats plus pilot, DFR, IFR, 24/7. It's everything you ever had under your Class 3, all the way up to probably a medium-sized twin. It beats Baron. So it's a pretty good deal. It's not everything everybody wanted. Like that Class 3, there's guys that have failed their Class 3 and then quit. They can't just go back. They have to get another Class 3, or I think they can do that by going through Oklahoma City to get whatever they were getting before. And I think they've loosened up on some of the things that were disqualifying, but they're not going to they simply can't go, anybody that wants to fly. You know how strong the urge is. You're willing to kind of ignore a lot of things just to get back in the air. So, but I get a physical every year anyway, so it's no big deal for me.
Departing north, Marion traffic.
Being able to fly at night again, I'd be able to get instrument current again if I wanted to upgrade the airplane. I'm not going to rent, so I'm not going to rent an instrument airplane to fly IFR, so I don't know that I'll do it. Depends on if I want to pour money into the airplane or not.
Runway traffic, Bonanza 55.
It'd be about $5 grand. I'd need a navcom. I would need the lights.
What kind of traffic? 329 Delta Alpha.
I don't know what else I'd need. Navcom's enough. That's pretty pricey on its own. I could buy used. When the fancy GNS 430s came out, a lot of really nice radios showed up on the used market.
Up with 23, Fayette County.
Just have to restructure all the panel. It'll be a lot of work. I don't mind that. I built the thing. I'm just not sure I'd use it. It's not a super strong instrument platform unless you're using the Autopilot. And it's very... But, there's days where I just want to get through a layer. It's 800 overcast and it's, clear at 3,000. I just pop right through that.
We hardly have that many VFR days in South Florida. IFR days.
You do get afternoon thunderstorms up where we're going to be. They come right across that every single day. It's like clockwork. At least in the summer. I was down there a couple years ago in July, and it was every day about 1:30 or 2 o'clock you want to be done flying because the storm's coming through.
Yeah, that's the way it is down in Southeast Florida. You know it.
You know it's coming. Yeah, you know what's coming, right? So, it's pretty easy, really. Yeah, I'm looking forward to flying in Florida. It's a whole new state to see. I've been doing this for a long time. There's not many places to go that I can fly in, just a couple hours that I haven't been to. So looking forward to Florida. The people that live there were complaining about the heat, but I didn't think it was all that bad. So, but we're not going to be down there in the summer anyway, unless I go down to check up on whatever house we have. I don't want to sit empty for 5 months. So I'll probably just fly down this one. Autopilot, it's a long day, but it's not too much work. The weather coming back, the weather was pretty bad in Ohio, so I was using the hell out of this thing. Where can I go to get around that? A lot of marginal. If I go off to the west a little bit, I can go around all that, or I can just sit here and wait kind of stuff. It's very handy. And the Autopilot, of course, you can just sit back and monitor.
X-ray is flying over the airport 1000 above, and we'll be entering a left down.
I was coming over the hills, and I couldn't tell how high the hills were. MSL, they always look like they're right in front of you. If you move this pointer, it tells you the exact MSL underneath that pointer. So what's it going to be up here? Oh, 3,200 feet. I'm at 45. No problem. Very handy. Very good for SUA. Stay out of the airspace. There's just so much information in there.
Quebec.
You got to learn how how to use it. There's stuff I still don't know how to do, but I know a lot more than a lot of people do. They know direct to.
What we're going to do is we're going to do this one on 2-3 and then go on.
Oh, don't both talk at the same time.
Runway 28, Wayne County 3 and fall in with you, okay?
What happened at AWAS? AWAS is off. That's unfortunate. Oh, right back to that. I'll leave that on for a while and see what happens.
5 mile final to runway 28, Wayne County. Runway 71 Delta 3 miles.
That's not there.
Yeah, we have to do that complete factor.
No, we'll just do what everybody else is doing. I believe it'll be 27.
We've got you guys in sight too. You guys are going to be turning your crosswind now because we can follow you. We're turning right now across then.
I like hearing them talk to each other. There's so many people that just announce, but they don't listen. I had a guy pulled right out in front on the runway in front of me. I'm talking to him the whole way, and he pops right out in front of me. But, you know, that's why you watch. I don't trust anybody. I don't 100% trust myself. And it's going to be raining the next couple days. I think I'm going to pull the radio out and figure out what's going on with it. It's a pain to get all this off. There's a lot of line of screws along here that all got to come off. And they seem to, they're like these. They just want to stick in there. I have a heck of a time getting them out of there. This one's nice and rounded. I must have done that putting it in because I wouldn't put one in. I wouldn't put one back in like that. And I got to get that radio out of there and figure out if I can just put a better ground on the headset jacks than the jacks themselves or something. I don't know. Can't stand that radio anymore. That happened one day. I took off and it was fine. Came back and it was all garbly. I couldn't hardly hear the tower. And I was still halfway through building that other guy's airplane, and he had one sitting in the box. So I took mine out. I was going to go swap it with his and see if that would fix it. But I had enough experience in the Air Force of, you know, just reseating connectors. So I'm going to put it back in and see if it worked, and it worked fine. So I don't know what happens with that connector, but sometimes you just need to reseat it. So I'll try that first. And my best theory is that it's a bad ground, but the other one is that I just need to reset the radio because the intercoms work fine. It's only when I transmit. Well, it has nothing to do with the intercom. It's a mystery. I think this is my second time up here in a week.
Really?
I came up last week with Erica before her wedding, and we went up to Kelly's Island. She likes a little more sedate Kelly's Island than the frenetic Putin Bay. Walked around for 6.5 miles, and she got sunburned. Hey, just in time for your wedding. Ain't Dad great?
Runway County 76 about final 23 runway.
Let's go down to 3,500 and get a little line of clouds in front of us, and we got to do that eventually anyway. 20 miles out. I imagine that's going to be a bike trail. Running right alongside the road, so there's no way it's a road. They don't build any more railroads. So that's good. I think that's going to be a bike trail. I don't know if it's on your side or not. It stretches off in the distance there. Yeah. Ohio has tremendously good bike trails. Well, I shouldn't call them that. They're multi-purpose trails. If you call them bike trails, all the people in spandex want you to get out of the way. You got to call them well, shit. Looks like we're right at that one, too. We'll see when we get closer. Might have to scoot off to the right of that one in front of us. I might as well do it anyway. It's easier from here. But if you manage your altitude correctly, you can get to Port Clinton and the islands both within glide distance of either bank. When I came up here last week, I picked up I had a traffic indication. Actually, no, I didn't. It was too low for that. I saw a shadow of an airplane converging on us. Of course, you don't know how high he is from the shadow, so I kept looking up. Then I looked down, and it was a B-25. Wow. At about maybe 500 to 1,000 AGL, went right underneath us. Pretty neat, really. Hey, look at that, B-25. I think they are going to have a B-25 fly-in again this year at Urbana. And I mean, they did it like a dozen of them. I had no idea. Yeah, had no idea there were that many of them. I missed the last one, and I probably missed this one too, because I can't keep track of dates.
Traffic Archer 405, Sierra Scout, point to Mount West.
Well, we're clear of these guys.
Wayne County traffic, Cessna 76.
That's the best I can do.
Cessna 68, 732 back left, cross 123 runway.
X-ray, doing a spiral engine out maneuver for runway 28.
Yeah, right in front of us, this guy. Zigzagging under the clouds.
Runway County Cessna 73, back left, downwind 23 runway.
The thing about posting flying videos on YouTube is you kind of want to make sure you're doing everything legally.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's like having a CFI looking over your shoulder. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Keeps you disciplined. Port Clinton traffic, external 284 Delta Golf 7 miles south, inbound left traffic 27 Port Clinton.
Port Clinton, citation 912 Delta Papa, 8 miles to the south and west, inbound for runway 27.
You're likely to get there before us, so I'll be looking for you.
And where were you located?
We are 6.5 south.
Cessna 7.
I would like to have heard that one. Really would have liked to have heard what he had to say. Here he is on the traffic. He's already in downwind, basically kind of an extended downwind. I'm going to angle out and make sure I get in behind him. I don't know how fast they are in the pattern. We're still doing 100 knots.
Wayne County traffic, Cessna 739 Bravo X-ray on left base for 28, Wayne County.
Okay, we'll just get in behind him for sure. I'm afraid I can't talk soft and sexy like that though. There he is.
Left downwind for runway 27.
Fort Delta Golf, we are going to slot in behind you. Get it where I can see him. There he is. I mean on the...
Runway County Cessna 73, back left, base 23, runway.
Let's get the pattern altitude, which is 1600. Dial that in so I can remember it. Go. And he's actually below us now too, so... There he is.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, I don't think we were going to get in front of him even if I had the RV6. He was cooking along.
Yeah.
That's a little hazier up here than it was south. Never been a huge fan of flying at night myself.
Flying over water.
Well, yeah. I'll do that here.
Taking off and turning.
I fly over water here because I know that I could stay within glide distance, but, you know, it's not going to be a great place to land either way. You know, the coasts are all lined with trees and such, but I'd make a decision when I got there whether I'd rather have the water or the trees. Probably the water, but I'd like it to be near the bank. I'm not a strong swimmer. There's a line of boats going out.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like the fleet headed out. He's already landing. He's cooking right along. May traffic, experimental 284, lifted off, midfield, left downwind, 27, full stop. Port Clinton, not Putin Bay. Putin Bay? That's not Putin Bay.
Port Clinton traffic, citation 912 Delta.
In fact, there'll even be a parking spot today. You can't do this on the weekends unless you get here super early.
Really?
As a very popular restaurant. They extended the ramp, but it's still not enough. Alright, so we're going to go back to takeoff trim because that actually turns out to be a really good approach trim as well. But if it would do it, there we go. And we need, there's our knots for the flaps. There's a big bump in the nose when they put the flaps down.
Left down, left cross.
And that's just really good trim for an approach. Takes me right where I want, generally. There we go. The ailerons, they get a lot stiffer with the flaperons down, which is kind of nice. That's always been my theory about why people say Moonies are hard to land, that they're too slippery. I don't think that's it at all. When you're flying that thing at 160 knots, the ailerons are rock solid. When you slow it down to land it, they start to feel really, really mushy. And people feel like they're going too slow, so they speed up. These just get stiff by themselves, just through the mechanics of the flaperons. I think it's probably accidental, but it's pretty nice that it does it.
Altitude.
Altitude. Okay, he's almost fully taxied back too, so he won't be a problem at all. Anybody out there? Anybody out there? Oh, 10 traffic for double Gulf final 2747. Barely even see the islands today. Hazy, hazy.
Lake County traffic south, 3 number of X-ray over threshold 280, 3,000 feet, engine on spiral down, landing, please.
Feels almost tailwindish.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was kind of bouncy. I'll take it, but
No,
I've had better.
Yeah.
The little wind guy says there's no wind at all, so that's usually you get enough of a headwind, you can tell the difference.
Okay.
I think that's an LSA. I think that's a sport cruiser.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
Nice.
They're heavier than this one, so they don't carry as much. It's an active runway, so we kind of watch before we cross. Well, I'm not sure what all the orange decorations are for, but I'm just going to park.
Maybe they knew you were coming.
Well, it almost looks construction-ish, like, you know, stay the hell off of it, but...
Wow. Sweet little airplane.
All right, 248.8.
Sure.